You ready to record?
What are you doing?
I'm ready to record. I thought I'd record Malignant style. You know, Gabriel's going to speak through me. This is how I record now. Oh, yeah.
You're making the cracking noises. You're not actually cracking.
That's better. It's better. It's sound effects. You just don't.
Sorry for this. Get ready for Malignant.
Ladies and gentlemen, please notice.
Conveniently located in the front and rear of the
Hi, I'm Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler.
And we're cut off from the world at an isolated hotel. That's right. It's time for Forgotten Horror 6, Fear the Darkness. Each episode, we're going to discuss a film that, for a variety of reasons, was forgotten by audiences. Maybe their parasitic twin brother was talking too loud in the theater, or they were too busy tracking down a ghost in a mansion. Or perhaps the movie didn't catch on with an audience in its initial run because they were trapped in a cabin in the woods. We'll discuss what we love about the movie or perhaps don't love about it, but we'll always recommend you revisit it, unless you've been turned into a zombie by that passing comet. If you survive being attacked by werewolves in the Scottish Highlands, and we want to hear from you, we're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. Like, share, and subscribe, as they say. Our podcast is available on all platforms for your listening displeasure. What's going on, man?
Forgotten Horror begins.
It does begin. I had to, normally we know, we know the opening kind of on the back of our hand, but this one I just wrote, not just wrote, but it's recent. And I was like, oh, don't screw it up. Don't screw it up. But I didn't. And if you notice the theme there, I've interwoven all of our movies this year.
Yes.
So we are doing 6 films this Forgotten Horror season, Forgotten Horror 6, Fear the Darkness. There's 5 Wednesdays of the month. That's our regular release schedule, and 1 bonus episode for Halloween, which we started doing last year, which I like that idea. I think I
thought it was good too. Yeah.
So, Mike, are you gonna give me the synopsis, or are you just gonna tell me how you're doing?
What would you prefer?
Why don't you give us the synopsis? Tell us what the first film we're doing of this Forgotten Horror season.
Oh, I don't like that. Hold on.
Not even ready.
27 long years after the brutal Simeon Research Hospital incident, abused Madison wakes up in a hospital in present-day Seattle. But with numbing visions of murder getting in the way of a normal life, more and more Madison's obscure past emerges, baffling both herself and the local detectives. Are these explicitly violent killings figments of Madison's troubled imagination? No, they clearly find dead bodies. Either way, someone, or better yet, something, links the past to the present, demanding closure and blood. Is the boogeyman real?
I apologize. Did you say Simeon?
They wrote down the Simeon Research Hospital.
So not Simeon like ape.
Yeah. Simeon.
Like okay. Yes, we're doing Malignant. I don't know if we mentioned this. This is probably one of our more recent forgotten cinema films.
Somewhere we did, either on our announcement video or last week.
Is it this? So it's this film.
This film is probably the most recent we've done.
All right, so let's get into the facts and let's get into what we thought about the film and all that fun stuff that we like to do.
Thank you for describing the show. Continue.
I kind of like to describe the show every now and then, not just for the audience, but for me, so I remember. Malignant has a runtime of 111 minutes. It's rated R. Production budget of $40 million. Came out on Friday, September 10th. 2021. Opening weekend, it did 5.4 million. Domestic 13.4, international 21.5 for a worldwide total of $34.9 million. I probably think it's probably a good idea to put this in here right now because I know this is why we're going to say it's forgotten, and I know we're going to talk about this.
Right.
This is one of those films that obviously the pandemic affected. It was pushed and kept getting pushed back, and obviously comes out in theaters, but as you know, even now, movies are kind of slowly creeping back to where they were.
Big movies, yeah.
Yeah, but, But
2021, definitely not.
So let's not judge this film in terms of its money right off the bat because it's unfortunately, nobody wanted to go out. Obviously.
It's a victim of pretty much all the 2021 films.
Absolutely.
Unless your name is Top Gun Maverick.
Which is a great movie. All right. Production companies were New Line Cinema, Atomic Monster, Starlight Media Incorporated, and My Entertainment Incorporated. And this movie was distributed by Warner Brothers Pictures. Came out on the 10th of September. It went up against a limited release. Now, I should also tell you that this is listed as a limited release, but I'm pretty sure it came out into like 3,000 screens.
Again, for COVID, who knows what like they're considering these.
I was a little kind of confused by that, but yes. It came out to 3,500 screens. But anyways, The Card Counter was a film went up against. Did you ever see The Card Counter, Paul Schrader?
No, I was curious about watching it, but I always tend to like those kind of movies.
I saw it.
Enjoy them.
Oscar Isaac, I think you'd probably like it.
Yeah.
It's definitely a drama, and, probably not really this movie's counter. It's not really this film's
opponent or whatever.
Competition. Yeah. So the week before, September 3rd, you had Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings in a wide release. Obviously, that was very popular, I think, even though it's COVID times.
It was popular, but it's still kind of I think it still took a hit because we weren't like, I remember not running around like crazy like every other opening weekend.
Well, I didn't work. I wasn't.
That's right. You were gone by the time. You watched it with me on that Thursday.
I did, but I was not working there.
Snuck you in. I actually like Shang-Chi. It was probably the last Marvel movie I kind of was like, all right.
Well, there's a new one coming.
I'm okay with that.
All right. The week after the 17th, you had Cry Macho and Cop Shop in a wide release, and then a limited release of The Eyes of Tammy Faye. I should also point out that Malignant it came out in the theaters, and it also was on HBO Max.
Oh, it was the same day?
Yeah. So
that's right. HBO that whole year was same day, because even Dune had a same day release.
Right. And I think I actually I thought I had numbers. I do have numbers for that. So according to Samba TV, the movie streamed 753,000 times opening weekend.
That's pretty impressive. That's
and then for the first month, because how HBO Max for now Max, maybe something new coming up. Did you see that thing? Warner Bros. Is talking about breaking off everything now because they're losing money. So yeah, I know. So anyways, that's down in the future. So how they would do it was like Malignant came out, and for that first month it was on HBO Max. Then it would go away and it would go to digital or VOD, and then it would come back. So it would only be there for a month. And it's at the end of that first month, it streamed 1.6 million times. So, I mean, if you want to do the quick math in terms of those people went to the theater, you probably could find the budget. I probably could have done that ahead of time.
It's an extra $10 a head.
Impressive. So I think it still was popular. And that probably would have shaked out in the theater if we didn't have what we had.
I think at least in our location, because it was in a mall, I think that, and it was a busier theater, James Wan movies tended to do really well. Like, as long as his name was on it, because he had done other horror movies that worked.
Horror, yes.
Yeah, James Wan horror movies tend to perform pretty well.
Sure. Well, we'll get to it right now. So this movie was directed by James Wan. He also has a story credit. He has directed Saw, Insidious, Furious 7, Aquaman. Obviously, he's cashing in some bucks there, which is great. He's produced all those as well. He's also written the story for Megan and Dead Silence. The story credit is also given to Ingrid Bisu. I believe she is his wife.
Yes.
And she has a story credit for the upcoming Soulmate, which I thought that's not a sequel to Megan.
It's not a sequel to Megan, but it's in the same universe.
Because there's another Megan movie coming out.
Yes, right. Megan 2 is coming out.
This has a story screenplay credit for Akilah Cooper, who wrote Megan, The Nun 2, and Hellfest. Did you ever see Hellfest? It's like...
No, I remember the name, but I forgot what that was even about.
It's like the kids going to Hellfest, like going to a festival and they get.
No, I didn't see that, but I would probably enjoy that. It sounds like something I might like.
Cinematographer was Michael Burgess, who's done Annabelle Comes Home, The Family Plan, and the upcoming 2024 Salem's Lot. Composer was Joseph Bishara, who's done The Conjuring, Annabelle, and The Prodigy. Edited by Kirk Morey, who's done Aquaman, Furious 7, and Lights Out. I believe Lights Out is another James Wan film, right?
He produced it, but it was
No,
Lights Out was done by a director who put out a short on YouTube.
Okay.
And that short on YouTube caught his eye, and he was like, hey, I'd love to help you make a film out of this. Yeah.
Cool. Produced by Michael Clear and James Wan. Clear he's an executive producer on the 2021 Mortal Kombat movie and The Nun. And Wan has produced Night Swim, Spiral, The Curse of La Llorona. So as his other films as well. This film stars Annabelle Wallis as Madison Mitchell. She's from the 2017 The Mummy, Annabelle, and she's in Star Trek Discovery.
She's the voice of Zora. She's the ship.
Yeah, which you hate.
Oh yeah, I don't like the ship having it was a stupid plot line.
I don't
It
think
was
it's
bad.
that stupid, but
It was I didn't like. Oh, I have feeling I don't want you to get hurt, so I'm not going to go on this mission with you. I just hated that.
why the ship
I
cares.
hated that.
The
I did.
ship
I loved the
cares.
short with her, where the guy finds the ship empty.
Yep.
I thought that was great. She was also in Peaky Blinders.
Okay. What part?
She's what's his face's wife. She's Thomas Shelby's wife. She's Mrs. Shelby.
Maddie Hasten as Sydney Lake. She plays Madison Mitchell's sister, and you find out that Madison's been adopted, but you find that out in the movie. She is in the TV show Twisted and the TV show Impulse. George Young as Keikoa Shaw. He's one of the cops. The cop that finds Sydney Lake attractive. There's a connection there.
Ooh.
He is in the TV show Containment and the movie Falling for Christmas, which I'm pretty sure is a Hallmark film. Mikola Brianna White, plays Regina Moss. She's the other detective who doesn't buy into Madison's story. She's in Encino Man and Courage Under Fire. Jean Louisa Kelly as Serena or Jane Doe, the mother of Madison Mitchell. She's in the TV show Yes Dear and Top Gun Maverick. Susanna Thompson as Jean, who's Madison's mom and Sydney's mom. She's in the TV show Once Again and Dragonfly. Jake Abel as Derek Mitchell. He's in there for the opening with he's Madison's lovely husband. He's in the Percy Jackson movies and I Am Number 4. Then you had Jacqueline McKenzie as Dr. Florence Weaver from the TV show The 4400 and Deep Blue Sea. Did you ever finish The 4400? I started it. I could never finish it.
I never even watched it.
Oh, okay. I thought you watched
No,
that.
I did not.
Yeah. I don't know why I started it. Christian Clemenson as Dr. Victor Fields from United 93 and The Fisher King. And Paula Marshall's in there. You see her for a little bit. She's the therapist at the end. Zoe Bell plays one of the women in the detention in the jail that gets, murdered. McKenna Grace is young Madison. She's obviously
She gets like a special
Ghostbusters.
thanks at the end, but yeah.
I think this is like her earlier film, isn't it?
Yeah, this is before Ghost, because I remember watching it and going like, who is she? And then they did a close up, we're like, it's Egon's granddaughter.
Yes, it's young Spengler. Okay. So originally this movie was set to be released on August 14th, 2020, and obviously removed from the pandemic. We just talked about that. So you can imagine like this film was shot in 2019. It didn't come out obviously until 2.5 years later. So it kind of has that, it's unfortunate, but that it is what it is. Mike Butler has not seen this film, and I've been telling him to see it. I'm gonna give you my reaction to the second.
Yeah,
time
I kind of want yours. I kind of want yours first anyway.
So I'm watching it, and a couple of things I like. I like that I'm never bored. All right, and there's parts in this movie, and I sit here and I'm like, I don't know why I like this movie, but I like this movie. I have fun. I'm not expecting. I think the best comparison I can make with this film is that compared to what horror is recently in terms of just kind of like, dreary and slow and creepy. Right. I think this film reminds me of a 90s horror film, and this film kind of was refreshing to watch in the horror genre because it wasn't like the other one. So I freely admit that if that's probably part of it, but I still just think it's just it makes me laugh, but in a good way sometimes. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just lightening up with this film. I had fun with it. I'm curious what you thought about this movie.
This movie's garbage, but it is fun. It does move. It is a little too long. I don't think any horror movie should be more than maybe an hour 40.
It's an hour 41.
It's 150 something.
Oh, 111. I'm sorry. I'm confusing 101, 111. Okay, you're right.
So I do think it's a little long. I think they could shave some stuff. It's so stupid. My notes are mostly complaining about it and how dumb it is, but it is fun. And it is like, I'm laughing the whole time. So, but I think, see, this is what I don't get. Like, if I'm supposed to be laughing about how dumb it is, it's great. If I'm not supposed to be laughing at how dumb it is, I don't think it's great. But Stephen King said it was his favorite horror movie of the year or something like that. So I think I'm supposed to be laughing about it.
I'm going to give you a quote from James Wan, and then we can go from there.
Okay.
It's a long quote, so bear in mind.
All right. I'll take a sip of Coke.
Okay. I would tell people that knowing as little as possible about Malignant is the best way to go into the film. We're also very conscious about the trailer not giving too much away. I purposely wanted the movie to feel like you were coming into a typical James Wan type horror film, only then pull the rug out from underneath you toward the end of the movie, and that either turned people off or it made them completely reassess the film in a different light. So it got a very strong reaction. So what they're doing is on purpose.
Okay. I can see that because it does start off like a James Wan horror movie with the shadowy, like whooshy stuff. And then immediately just goes into this ridiculous, like pseudo action movie ninja monster. And I'm like, this is horrible, but I kind of like it.
And I think another reason why I liked it because they made a choice and they went with it. And we talk about all the time.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Talk about Nicolas Cage because he thinks that this.
Oh, he liked it too.
He's a huge fan. His inspiration, his favorite movie of 2021. But we talk about Nicolas Cage being somebody who makes acting choices and goes with it, and like it or love it, or you don't like it at all.
Right.
You have to respect the fact that he makes those conscious choices, and they're not unintelligent. He's deeply motivated about what he's trying to do.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
the fact that they make this choice for this film is why I think I respect it a lot, and that's why I'm okay. Listen, I agree with you. Like the police,
you can't. I mean,
like the Seattle PD are the worst.
They're the
PD.
worst cops ever.
Destroyed. They get, but and the police station looks bogus, and there's a lot
Everything
of CGI
looks like a
in
set.
it.
Yeah.
That cityscape shot where they kind of when it's raining and it's going across. I think it's right before the Seattle scene. Where I think that's completely all CGI.
Oh, I'm sure it probably
not
is.
AI generated, but CGI generated. Because if you notice, if you go back and watch it, they show cars going into a tunnel. Those cars are fake. And then I'm like, this whole shot's fake. So there's a lot of stuff like this. There's a lot of digital matte stuff. There's a lot of stuff like that.
They ain't filming in Seattle.
They're probably not. But okay. So I guess give me your biggest gripe with the film.
Oh man. My biggest gripe that isn't just like.
Well, do you want to talk? How about this? Do you want to go through characters? Do you want to go through plot? Do you want to go through
I guess
the creature itself?
Let's go through the creature, because I think most of my complaints are about Gabriel himself and how stupid he is.
Okay.
Although, I mean, and also like ridiculous and kind of funny he is. I mean, it's.
Did you know?
I knew right away. That's the thing is like pull the rug right from under them in terms of the thematics and the taking away the seriousness of the movie. Sure, he pulls the rug under me, but I knew it was her immediately.
But you knew it was her, but did you know in the way it was her, like that it was?
Yes, it was it was a tumor, because you see the tumor monster at the very beginning, and I think that very beginning scene kind of ruins, at least for me, because I've probably seen too many movies. But I was like, oh, she's the tumor monster. All right, she's got the tumor monster in her. Like the shadow person, I was like, okay, all right, maybe it's not her. Maybe the shadow person's separate or separates from her body.
Right.
But then as soon as like this, she's in the house and it's opening doors and nothing's there, I was kind of like, I think she's just this. I think it's just her.
Okay.
So that kind of like was like, all right. But the fact that it's never explained why it's got superhuman strength and abilities. The fact that it breaks her own bones at anytime it goes backwards.
She could be multi-jointed.
But
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
It's just a little silly. And then the fact, my main thing is the whole thing in the back of her face.
Yeah.
No one ever touched the back of her head, but it like escapes through the skull. Her skull opens up.
Well, it doesn't awake again until
it's because he slams her against the wall. But then at the end of the movie, actually in the prison scene, you see it split from her skull and the face comes out, and then it like retracts back again when she's done with them.
Yes,
and her skull like magically heals back up. I was just like, why is this happening? He had to be surgically removed, not sucked back into your brain.
Well, he was surgically removed, but
other than the face part, because
he grew stronger from all her fetuses.
That's the other thing. Where's my note for that? Oh, he was feeding off fetuses? Couldn't he have been feeding off like burgers or something? Like, did it have to specifically
life
be
force, Butler? Life force.
That was a great Thanksgiving dinner, Mom. Oh, I had too much turkey. Like, it's just kind of like ridiculous. And like, he's so good at parkour. Where did he get good at this stuff if he's been dormant for all this time?
Well, I don't know. They don't really explain the super strength a little bit, but obviously at the end she's like, I've controlling. She lifts the bed up.
If he could do it, I could do it. We both share the same body.
They don't really explain that. And I kind of need a second film, so I'm okay with that. Like, if you explain it in the second movie, listen,
you do a second film, Gabriel's got to be the hero.
Oh God!
She unleashes Gabriel to kill another monster that's more powerful than Gabriel.
I know. I think
it's a whoever wins, we lose situation.
I think Gabriel's motivation for a second film is to separate from her and become his own thing. So he's got.
I'm okay with it, because if he becomes even more mutated looking, I'm cool with that.
But regardless, so you had a big problem with just Gabriel on the whole in terms of like how he's doing things,
like that. Yeah, I need. Unless it's Evil Dead, which I talk about all the time. Like, Evil Dead establishes right away, this book can do anything.
Sure.
Other than that, in a horror movie, I need rules. And that's why when we talked about
James Wan is not here for what you need.
What lies beneath, like,
It's the summer. It should never go off.
Oh. 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 Get some super glue. So like when we were doing our what lies beneath episode,
I remember.
I talked about how like one of my big complaints is, and I think you had the same kind of issue with the movie, is the ghost didn't have rules. Like what the ghost could do was always wishy-washy to the surface of the plot. It's kind of the same with Gabriel. Like I need to know why Gabriel has superpowers, why he can all of a sudden control electronics, and why like all this stuff is like, and why like her skull heals at the end. I just need to know a little bit more, even if it's a stupid comic booky explanation, because obviously this movie kind of veers into that kind of cheese territory. I just need to know. Even it's could be the stupidest thing. It could be pseudoscience, just techno babble. Just let me know.
I don't think that when they shock her and she's as a kid, isn't that when he was able to connect with the electricity?
I don't know if he connects or he then uses it.
I don't know.
And he's like, all right, screw this. I'm going to short it all out. Yeah.
Right. No, I guess that's fair. But let me ask you this question then, because you love Evil Dead.
Yeah, absolutely.
Does this film need to go more towards the surrealistic for you to buy in instead of it? Do you think that it's towing a line between realism and supernatural too much, that you needed to just be off the wall? Like you need like an Ash type character in here to make you go, all right, this is fun. I don't care. I'm into it.
Not at all. Like I like the remake of Evil Dead, and it kind of follows the same rule of anything can happen, but it is done in a more serious way.
Right.
Like I don't not like that it veers into the silly. Like I said, I'm laughing, and if I'm supposed to laugh, I'm cool with that.
Right.
Like I said, like when we were just talking about that before, if that's James Wan wants, or if that's what James Wan wants, that's what James Wan gets.
James Gunn.
But I need, not that I need it to be funny. I just still need an explanation. You know what I mean?
So you need.
But like
I'm talking about of Gabriel and the supernatural.
Yeah, but I'm fine with it going into that outlandish territory. I'm fine with it being over the top and silly. Like I said, I was laughing during that police station thing, and I was having fun with the movie when when Detective Shaw's chasing.
Gabriel
the first time. Like I'm like, this is so.
After he kills Fields, after he kills the guy it stabs him in the face.
Yeah, stabs him in the face in the bathtub. No, bathtub is that guy.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Yeah. Yep. Like I was totally into it. I'm like, what is this movie? All of a sudden now he's chasing it. So like the monster's established, and we found it, and it's pulling ninja moves. So it's no longer just this creepy in the shadows thing. It could fight. I'm like, okay, I'm into that. I bought that. The action's kind of cool. Even though the police are super inept in the police station, I was kind of digging it. I love the shootout in the old stagecoach, even though it's clearly a set because they pull back a little too far where you see over the top of the pillars.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know if I needed to be pulled back that far, but I like that set. That was a cool looking set. So yeah, I was into that. But in terms of like me liking the monster, like being a memorable movie monster, it just needed that explanation. You know what I mean?
Interesting. Because you're like telling me you liked it. You're telling me that you like a lot of parts of it.
Right.
But I feel like you don't want to commit. You're holding on.
I can't commit because there's no explanation. That part actually like kind of pisses me off because I'm just like, why?
But I'm telling you,
give me a reason.
But I'm telling you to let go.
Let
go and enjoy.
I can't let go of that. I did enjoy.
Come on, the whole scene when she starts killing all the women in the jail cell.
They were like overly aggressive.
Like how about
what's wrong?
Like Zoe Bell's character's name's Scorpion, but I'm not gonna say this. So Zoe Bell's like throwing people at her.
You go. Yeah. After her finger gets bit.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I will say the one thing, and because I'm consistent with this throughout everything we talk about, is that I don't like the digital blood. I get that it allows you to do shots and things that you wouldn't normally be able to do.
Because it's not going to do exactly what you want.
Right. So but the digital blood just really pulls me out a lot.
I agree.
I'm just not a fan of it.
But that fight had some really cool stuff though. Like the squished head.
Yeah.
I like the squished head a lot.
Mhm.
The one girl who seemed like she also didn't belong in the prison, she just gets shoved and accidentally just gets a hand through her chest. I'm like, oh, she didn't start to fight.
She should have been in prison. She should have been in the
Shouldn't
jail
have
cell.
been.
I don't even think they make drunk tanks or jail cells like that big anymore.
Yeah, it was
That-
huge.
It's way too
and
big.
the fact that there's not one single cop there or no one,
Yeah,
there's no
like-
cameras.
like she's murdering people for a good 5-10 minutes,
And she's getting beat up
and
right
people
before
are
that.
screaming
Yeah.
and like, yeah, they're non-existent.
You're also not putting your murder suspect in with the drunk tank. I
Yeah.
don't think she's going into like the Gen Pop kind of
Yeah,
day prison cell.
yeah. Did you think that? Speaking of the police station, did you see Spiral?
Yeah.
Okay. Did it look like the same set, like the same location as Spiral, like the police station of Spiral? Except
It
not
did,
as dark?
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of like, I feel like that's obviously Spiral was directed by someone else. And we did Spiral on our Now
yeah.
thing.
Wasn't Spiral directed by Chris Rock?
Chris Rock wrote it. I don't
He
think he
wrote it.
directed
Okay,
it.
okay.
But yeah, I think, but James Wan, because I think he did do some of this, one of the Saws, right?
He did the first Saw and then he produced. all
Yeah,
the
that's
other
what I
ones.
thought. Yeah. Like that kind of style, like as soon as Saw 1 is different, but Saw 2, that style from Saw 2 kind of carried over into a lot of the horror genre. I'm pretty
Mhm.
like, I think other with the exception of maybe like Insidious and The Conjuring a little bit, which because they're more ghostly,
Mhm.
those kind of sets, that overuse of red and that the way the colors bleed, everything's got that kind of CW type lighting where it's like every light bulb has to be a different color. Like they're not like light bulbs.
Sure.
So yeah, I thought the same thing. One of my notes is that it looks like some of the scenes look straight out of Saw. The
So-
parking garage is definitely like out of Saw.
Oh, well, before that, Darren Lynn Boseman directed Spiral, but he also directed Saw 2, 3, and 4. So
So
that's
that-
why.
Okay.
But speaking of the parking garage, you're talking about the cop parking garage, right? When he pulls in and the cop
Yeah, and then they find out that there's the shooting, so he runs back.
I wanted to ask you this. That scene, he's walking, he's on the phone, and there's a big giant fan behind him. And
Mhm.
there's that same giant fan in the attic. And I'm wondering if it's the same set.
Oh, and they just
And they
redressed it.
redesigned it.
I didn't even notice that.
I'm like, what are the odds that there's two giant fans at two separate locations and they just redressed the set for
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Gotta save some money. Is that a $55 million budget? You said
$40 million.
$40 million budget.
Which we talk about all the time, how the $20 to $80 million budget is disappearing. But here it is again. We've got another one right
Sure,
in the
yeah.
smack dab in the middle. So
maybe horror movies don't count.
well, they should. I mean, so I thought. I mean, but to be fair, we always give indie films a break in terms of stuff like that if they're redoubling.
Yeah, I'm
sets.
cool.
So who
I'm
cares?
cool
Yeah.
with that.
I just thought it was interesting. All right, so you're not a fan of Gabriel, or you can't really quite get there with him. You like everything about it, but you're just missing something.
I like that, and you're right that it's very super 90s. I also think Gabriel at the end is much more fun than Gabriel in the middle. Like Gabriel when he starts taunting people and he's talking a bit more, like that Gabriel is still different from the end Gabriel where he's much more vicious, much more kind of like cruel, jokey, kind of just a dick. Like I want that Gabriel in the middle too, and I would maybe then I would like him so much I wouldn't care, but I'd still probably care.
Okay.
But I like him at the end where he talks a little bit more.
Okay. Well, one more note before we get into the characters. That chase scene when Shaw is chasing him, I actually really liked him jumping onto the dumpster, and he's like, "What am I doing?"
Oh yeah, and
because I'm like, that's like something straight out of like Lethal Weapon or an 80s action film where like a cop does that, and I was like, that instantly made me, because his character is like, he's not a cop. He's clearly doesn't like. He dresses too nice as a cop. He's too young to be a detective.
oh yeah.
He's it's a
Well, he's kind of not a good cop.
He's quote unquote.
His partner's
I
kind
know.
of the good cop.
Yeah. So there's that, but that chase scene you kind of get the sense like, okay, I kind of know what kind of cop Detective Shaw is. So like,
he's the wannabe cop. He's the cop who
no,
watched
he's
too
somebody
many
that's going to
action
go
movies.
after him. Yeah. He's going to stop. Whatever. I liked that. Okay.
Hit the bushes on the way down.
Let's go. That's another guy's reference for those who don't know. So let's talk about I don't want to say the acting, but the characters. Somebody stood out you didn't like, someone that stood out you did like, anything?
I was kind of okay with all the characters. Shaw was kind of like a little dumb at times, but I kind of like that because instead of giving him that serious kind of like I'm the serious detective. I've seen things. He seemed kind of green. He seems kind of like he doesn't really know what he's doing.
But he's a detective. He's been on the force for a while.
Sure, but his partner's kind of guiding the thing. The partner knows things before he gets to the crime scene.
Well, she's the senior detective, you're saying?
Exactly. Yeah. So I kind of like that.
What about the whole thing with the not to cut you off, but what about the whole thing with the forensic?
Well, if you let me speak, I was gonna get there. I didn't like that. I get she wrote the movie.
Oh, okay. I didn't even get that. That's
Yeah.
her? Oh,
That's her.
Okay.
And she's James Wan's wife, obviously.
Apologize. Sorry.
So like I get that she's in there, but I just think that it needed a payoff.
Yeah.
There needed to be a scene where she finds out he's more into the sister and she goes like, oh.
They kind of that kind of, it's in there and then it kind of goes away, and I don't know.
I mean, I get it. As soon as Gabriel's attacking, the concern is the hundreds of dead police officers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like, we always talk about all the time about how they just shoehorn in relationship stuff.
Sure, yeah.
So if they do have something where like they're together, like, are we going to be complaining about that? Like, you know what I mean? Like now, or because they kind of do it and they don't really get to it. Are we complaining that they don't get to it? Like we want that payoff with those two.
Oh, Shaw and the sister?
Yeah.
I think it gets to the point where they're going to go out at least on a date. Like, I don't think you need more than that.
Okay.
Because the movie, most of the focus is on the sister and Madison.
So you want to pay off with the forensic lady.
I just want an end to it. I want, if you're going to hint at like that kind of lovesick thing and go to a close-up shot of the senior detective going, then I want to pay off where she finds out that the sister and Shaw are kind of going out and gets like, oh man, lost another one. Maybe she goes off and all of a sudden has the hots for another detective and like that's her thing. Because that's kind of what the senior detective talks about anyway, how she's like the lovelorn like detective anyway. So maybe that's what it is.
Well, what about the whole idea of the whole plot point of how because Gabriel always wanted her to kill
the sister. Right.
Because they were blood, and Gabriel and Matt are.
I don't you to ignore me, yeah.
So Madison's real name is Emily. So Emily were
Emily
blood,
May.
and he wanted to. You kept trying to trick her to kill the baby when they were younger.
Cut the cake.
Yeah.
I like to cut the cake scene. I was like, why does he want her to cut a cake? Wait, they're cutting a cake? What's this?
So that's kind of like that's in there. That's a big kind of plot point, big subplot of the movie.
Sure, yeah.
Like he's got a hit list, but his hit list includes the people that originally cut him out of her, and then obviously the original hit list of the daughter of the sister,
which I like because it does pay off at the end, where the sister's like getting into something she probably shouldn't have, because even Gabriel says, I would have just saved you for last, but you had to meddle, so now you're gonna die now.
Yeah.
And the sister had no idea that he hated her that much.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you like how it ended with this? How she tricks Gabriel?
I mean, I knew it was going to have to end with either her killing herself or tricking Gabriel. So I kind of liked it.
Okay.
Kind of didn't. I would have liked to see like a battle.
Lot of stuff in this film.
There's a lot to like. It's just it doesn't get over the line of like loving it, but I do like a lot of it because it doesn't take it too self.
You started off saying that this movie's garbage.
It is garbage, but sometimes garbage is okay. There's a whole episode where you were talking about something that I can't remember what movie it was.
If you can't come with receipts, Butler, I can't sit here.
We've done too many episodes for that, but there was something you called hot garbage. Like you were like admitting it is. Why can't you just love it? Oh, Pod People. That wasn't Pod People.
Disturbing behavior.
Yeah. And you were like, why can't you just love?
Really admit why I like it.
But exactly, you were like, why can't you just love garbage? I know it's trash, but I like it.
Yeah.
I know this movie's trash, but I do like a lot of stuff.
But you're complaining about it.
Yeah, because it's garbage. I mean, we're talking about things I like and didn't like. Like, I think it ends too quick. She just takes over Gabriel a little too quickly without ever having learned even a little bit about it.
Sure.
I also would have liked a slap fight where like maybe she has a hand and he has a hand. If you're gonna go full stupid,
man,
let's get some physical comedy here.
That's a different movie, I think. Yeah, no, I hear you.
That's like an Ash beating himself up in the cabin in Army of Darkness.
Right.
So yeah, I think he gets defeated a little too quick, but then you're gonna push 2 hours. So, but I think you could have shaved 10 minutes off of the discovery of things, because I do think the audience is smart enough to have known a lot quicker.
Okay.
About the Gabriel.
I wondered.
Connection.
I wondered with that because when I was watching it, the first time, and obviously the second time, I knew what it was. I knew the reveal. I knew the quote unquote twist, which is really a twist, but I knew it. I wondered how confusing it would be for people because here's where I got some confusion. The woman that was in the attic, who's Serena, I kept thinking was Madison. And I don't know why. I just kept thinking, I was like, that her. And then the next scene I'd see her doing the laundry. I'm like, wait a minute, what? Isn't she tied up? And like that confused me a little bit.
I kept thinking she was the doctor in the beginning. And then I was like, no, but he killed the doctor in the beginning.
Right.
So who is she? Because he's only killing the doctors at first. So I'm like, okay.
There was
ended up
some
being
confusion.
the mother. So I was like, all right.
There was some confusion there for me when I first watched it. And watching it now, I'm wondering if Butler will have confusion.
I was confused who she was.
Yeah.
But the movie didn't make me care too much who she was.
What about the times when she is doing whatever she's doing, thinking she's doing whatever she's doing, and then she wakes up from her dream and she's in the room where he's killing whoever, like he's killing Weaver, and she like when she screams at her at the dryer, and then the room peels away.
I like the dryer scream.
Okay.
But I think there should have been more of that because there's not like she just fades and all of a sudden she's in the room. There's not like that jump scare because I thought that was very Sixth Sense. That was very girl in the tent that shh.
Yes, yeah.
Or no, she's throwing up first.
Yeah.
I liked that
she's
a
got
lot.
porridge coming out of her mouth.
The rat poison
Yeah.
porridge. I thought that was really cool. And I thought that was kind of, I don't think it was an homage on purpose, but it reminded me of that.
Yeah.
But I think there should have been a jump scare with each one of those. I think that would have been fun.
Mm-hmm.
Plus he's like king of the jump scares. So let's throw some in
Who,
there.
James Wan?
Yeah.
Oh, is he known as that? Or is that you're saying that?
I'm saying that. I'm pretty sure that's also true because he did Insidious and all those.
I don't know. I've never seen Insidious.
The first one's good. I've only seen the first one. I do want to go back because I think I heard the one with the red door is not bad.
No, couldn't tell you which one that was.
It's got Patrick Wilson.
Oh, Patrick. Well.
So does The Conjuring. I like Patrick.
I've only seen the first Conjuring. I've never seen the other ones.
I've seen 1 and 2, but I haven't seen any of the spin-off ones.
So Juan cited an influence of Dario Argento. I don't know for this film, but in general, I don't know. I know for this film, he cited Tenebrae, Phenomena, and Trauma. Did you ever see any of those? Do you know of Dario Argento?
I know of him.
Do you ever watch his movies?
I have seen pieces of his movies.
I don't think
I've
you would
never
like his
seen the whole
films.
thing. I don't think so either, based on what I've seen.
Because if you want an explanation about things, you're not going to
get it with his movies. I know that. Actually, maybe I did see one of his movies.
You might have seen Demons.
Does that have a castle? Is that like a castle or a mansion?
Suspiria, the original Suspiria.
I've only seen pieces of Suspiria. Yeah. There was one with like a castle and like weird shapes. I know I've seen one of them, or at least most of one, but I know he's kind of out there. But I know the post.
Call yourself a horror fan if you don't.
I
watch
like horror
Dario
movies. I'm not
Argento.
saying I'm like a horror aficionado. I'm not an expert.
Have you gone to the Fangoria conventions before?
I have not.
Interesting.
Have you? Oh yeah, so you have gone. Yeah.
I have. Right, Keith?
But yeah, I think one of the posters is inspired by one of his films, right? There's one of the versions of the Malignant poster is inspired
it's
by
the only
I think,
poster.
Trauma. No, there's 2 posters for Malignant because there's one where she's like got like half a face shaven off.
Oh no, yeah. The one with I can't remember which movie, but there is a death scene in one of Argento's films with it's like a glass shard comes through and it goes through someone's eye. And
Yes,
the way they do it,
I've
the
seen
fake
that.
eye and stuff like that. Yeah, there's like all the behind the scene thing about it. It's pretty cool. But like that's
I've
what
seen that, yeah.
that's part of what Argento is known for is inventive deaths and
Yep.
what they did to go into that and stuff
I
like
have seen that scene.
You should really
That might be the movie
I
I've
mean,
seen.
You should really go down kind of like a rabbit hole of Argento films and you kind of see like what he's all about and stuff like that. That Italian horror film from like the early days, excuse me. 70s. Okay, never mind.
No, I will. I've definitely seen some of it. I think in my horror film class, we had to learn some of it, but we didn't watch a full movie.
Okay.
But we had to learn some of it, like why it inspired things that came after.
Okay.
Or the thematics.
I don't know, man. You got anything for me? Or?
I have so many notes, but it's just like, what's going on? I have something about a CW commercial break.
Did you watch it on Tubi?
No, so they said a line that's like so bad. Oh, the music, Sydney, I'm adopted. And then it like cuts to black. And I'm just like, why is everyone so shocked about it? Sydney's like, oh, it's like this. We're 10 minutes into the movie. I don't care about either of you right now. Like, I don't understand why this is such a big shock. I just met you people.
I know what I want to ask you. What was your initial reaction when they actually reveal the creature on the back of Emily's when the mother and Sydney are watching?
Oh, the VHS tape?
Yeah.
I thought that was awesome.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
like,
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah.
I love that
That is
reveal.
so gross.
Because
cool.
you kind of, like you say, you kind of know, like, okay, I know what it is, kind of, but you don't know, and then you see it.
Yeah,
You're
you
like, oh
see
my
it in full,
god,
and it's like, whoa,
Yeah.
woof.
right?
I thought that was really well done and really cool.
Yeah.
I also really like the first attack. I like because it's different than the other ones that are more like quick.
The opening of the movie.
The open where he kills the douchebag husband,
Oh yeah.
and like I like he see like they're messing, the blender turns on, then he goes into the living room, he sees her for like an instant,
Yeah.
turns it off, and I love the indent in the couch cushion.
Yes, that's
and
a good. That's a good.
puffs back up.
Like I don't think he sees that. I think that's for us.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
I was
yeah.
like, that is really cool.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, I like the way the movie opens. It just gets right to it, and it's like, all right, here we go. Like,
Yeah.
so, let me tell. I can't say that I think this film is garbage, like you said. Like, I know you're saying it tongue in cheek. I know this movie. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, this is one of the greatest horror films of all time. But I had a lot of fun with this film. I like this film. I enjoy the wildness of it and the creepiness of it. Or something. I don't like the digital blood, but I'm not gonna like the digital blood in anything. I know that the alternative is, the potential for bad prosthetics. You know what I mean? Like when especially when he's stabbing him in the face. I understand that could just be a really bad face dummy, but I would be okay with that. That's me.
You get a really cool face dummy when they discover him, though.
Yes,
that's a real prosthetic.
I mean, I think digital effects and digital blood for horror films, I think it needs to be used as sparingly as possible. I mean, I would try to. Then again, I understand this is a $40 million movie. I'm sure that these decisions that they make are out of budgetary reasons. Completely respect that. I'm not in the room, so,
right?
It's just kind of my preference, and I'm sure that if I'm making a feature film and someone's like, "You're not going to get this done unless you do digital," I'm going to be like, "Digital blood, it is." So I totally understand that.
I really like the prosthetic of Gabriel too, like especially like, although I also don't like some of it when after he kills every cop in the thing, and he for some reason has to turn around and look at everyone before he marches out the door.
That's a great scene.
It's like a hero.
It's like
a hero shot. Yeah.
Well, some of Gabriel's stuff is actually a professional dancer and a contortionist, in disguise.
Yeah.
Marina Mazeppa, I believe. So there are scenes where it's not just Gabriel's not all CGI. It's actually a person.
Well, I think it's mostly a person doing a lot.
Oh, obviously not jumping down
not the jumping and stuff, but the other stuff is really impressive. It's cool.
But they blend it well in the cop scene when she's dodging and weaving.
The action's cool,
like
even though it's like she's a superhero and can't get shot. Or I guess then it's Gabriel.
What's wrong with that? It's supernatural. Why can't we believe that she'd have superpowers?
But I do like like when you see the prosthetic in full, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I like the one ugly eye that's got like the bang on it.
Yep.
I thought that was kind of cool. And it's a little like in the close up, it's a little chunky. Like it's a little chunky because you can tell it's a mask over another actor.
Mhm.
But I was like, that's a horror movie right there.
It's a mask over a
That's what
brain.
you're supposed to do. Yeah.
Andrew Barker from Variety says it's hard to say whether a film this bonkers works or not, but it's impossible not to admire both the craft and the extravagant bad taste behind its go for broke energy, which is, I think, what I'm saying.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I
Yeah.
call him, like you said, I'm calling it garbage tongue in cheek. Like, yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like this again. I'm going to go back to my reference of what movie were we talking about?
Disturbing behavior.
No, not Disturbing Behavior. What's the movie we were talking about where we were talking about you're glass half empty, I'm glass half full?
Pretty much everything after that.
Okay,
You made the reference once, and then
yeah, but I feel like this is another example of like we're both saying the same thing, but I'm slightly more optimistic about the film than you are. Like you're not, and I'm not saying you have to. It just feels like you're not willing to forgive the movie for some of these downfalls because you just can't. And I'm okay with it because I had fun.
I still like, yeah.
Yeah. That's all I'm saying.
I'm not saying
That's
I
what it
don't
feels
like it. I'm just saying I can't get to that level of you just because I need some more explanation, even if it's the weakest, most paper thin back up, like why he does these things. I just explain it to me.
Michael Gingold of Rue Morgue described the film as having WTF energy, but criticized the implausibility of the plot, saying too often it's hard to know whether Wan and company are kidding or not. So he was having a struggle.
Well, that was my struggle at the beginning, but listening to Stephen King's quote and then what you were saying and what Wan said, I'm like, okay, they are kidding. That's what it's supposed to be. So it works.
Yeah. Okay. And let me give you one more. A.A. Dowd of the AV Club described it as a, quote, a zany, psychodramatic creepfest that here and there veers into gory action hilarity as though Pazuzu had taken over the body of a Batman movie.
Kind of like the police station attack is kind of like a Batman villain going out. Yeah. Actually, Gabriel would make a really good Batman.
You probably should. This is Warner Brothers.
It is Warner Brothers. You can shoehorn him in. James Wan. He did Aquaman. He's already in with the. Oh, they fired his buddy.
Warner Brothers.
His
Discovery
producer
has,
buddy.
has enough problems. Okay. So I guess, Mike, are you suggesting this to people?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a fun night. This is a horror movie. It does have like 90s vibe, but it also has modern vibes. One thing that is another criticism against it, which I have in my notes, is that it's a little too clean. But I think that's just kind of
Clean
James
looking?
Wan's. Yeah. That's actually
Cinematography?
kind of like a lot of modern horror stuff, other than the new slower ones. A lot of those kind of they're a little too sleek for me.
I think sometimes the grain aspect or the dirt aspect is done just kind of as a stylized choice and not like it's realistic. Like I feel like we can talk about like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original, like older
Sure.
horror films have that film grain, but that's not necessarily like, oh, let's put that film grain in there. It's going to look great. That's the stock they're
Sure.
using. So I think that's just indicative of that. I think when people start getting really like that phony retro stylized look, I think that
Oh, I don't like that either.
that kind of feels more disingenuous than what this would look like if it's clean. So yeah,
Yeah.
but like but to be fair, most '90s films have
Were
that
cleaner
sleek
too.
look
Yeah,
too. Like,
that's
you know,
true.
Last Summer, Scream, Scream, all those, like, you know.
That is true. They were
Yeah.
very sleek. All the Dimension films ones were
Right.
very sleek. Urban Legend.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's just kind of that goes along. I think the only difference is this is shot digitally and those are shot on film. that
So
kind of thing,
it gives it a little more clean.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would recommend this to people. I think I would love to recommend this to somebody who doesn't know anything about this movie. Like
I think
Elise would enjoy it. But yeah, I think part of the things I would enjoy is like, hey, let's watch this horror movie. You put it in and they're like into it for like the first 10, 15 minutes. And then all of a sudden you get the chase scene and they're like, what is going on? It's just like,
Buckle up.
Yes. So yeah, I think, and I mean, obviously, I do think it's about 10 minutes too long, but I think it really ratchets up at the end again. You get the police station scene and stuff, and it's like, all right, the last 20 minutes are just like action, gore, weird contortionist humor guy doing his thing.
I think if I had a friend who I knew liked those 90s style horror films, I would definitely recommend this movie. I think it's definitely in that vein in a good way.
This is giving off big werewolf giving the middle finger cursed vibes, but in a good kind of way.
If that movie was better, yes.
That's the only thing I liked in Curse was
Yeah.
the middle finger from the werewolf.
Yeah, I just, again, I really want to go back to my original point when we first started talking about this film, is that I just think there's so much dreary, creepy horror out there. And I'm not saying I don't like it. It's just there's so much of it now that I need a movie like this to kind of bring me back to like this
horror
is like
movies can be fun.
escapist horror
Yeah.
film. Yeah. I mean, I grew up with slasher films in the 80s. So I mean, that's my entree into the horror genre is slasher films. So anything and then obviously the 90s films that kind of I feel are kind of maybe like a cousin to those movies.
For sure. Yeah.
So I think those type of films are where I sit in my kind of like horror happy zone. Like though I'm going to like those movies more than maybe like, even though I keep thinking of the others, but the others it's not a good, maybe that's why I haven't seen Insidious. Maybe that's why I haven't seen like that kind of film or the torture porn kind of films like Saw. Cause I just don't think I know I wouldn't like them.
So yeah, I don't like the torture porny ones either. Like I don't think like the over the top violence, the gore and stuff, like it doesn't upset me. It doesn't scare me. So it's kind of like, But I think what's up?
What does scare you?
I don't like ghosts. Ghosts scare me.
So like, give me a movie. What?
I'll tell you what scared me the most, which is really stupid.
Poltergeist?
No, I love Poltergeist from day one. I thought it was really fun.
Okay.
And the ghosts aren't necessarily the bad guys.
They're Poltergeist.
There was a special. It was on like UPN. It was terrible. It was right after Blair Witch came out.
Ugh.
And it was about aliens abducting this family, but it was found footage.
Okay.
And they just kept disappearing and like the dogs barking, the dog stopped. It was apparently it's terrible. It's like notoriously terrible on the internet, but I can't find it. I want to rewatch it. And the way it ends with the aliens taking away the last two survivors and finding the camera and like putting it down, like really well done gray aliens.
Yeah, but you believe in aliens, so you think
true. But so it's like a little
believable.
Yeah, but I don't know if I believe in ghosts, but ghost stuff kind of freaks me out just because the idea of the unknown kind of scares me. The idea of something that can be out there that you can't see or you can't do anything about.
Right.
That freaks me out.
Okay.
But so I think some of those kind of movies are ones that I like a little bit more.
Okay.
Like I like Insidious, The Conjuring, just anything like
ghost
the
movies.
Yeah, those are. I'm saying like those kind of movies, like anything that got ghosts. Paranormal Activity, the first one was okay, and then they kind of get eh. And obviously the Evil Dead movies, because if I want to have fun with a movie, I like something like Evil Dead where it's over the top.
Well, that's what you like.
Where there's evil. I like an evil presence where there's like Prince of Darkness was a good one we just did.
So you like a black hat bad guy, like somebody you have to fight against. The ghosts are too up in the air, ethereal.
Yeah, so if I want something that's gonna spook me, ghosts, and if I want something that I'm gonna have fun with, I like that, like over the top, like Devils Come to Georgia, kind of like
fight.
Like I like that.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah. So, but this is fun too, because I did also grow up watching Freddy and Jason and the Scream movies and Urban Legend, which, will I still like Urban Legend? I don't know. I do have to rewatch. I haven't seen it since like I was younger.
I only remember a few scenes from Urban Legend. I feel like if John Doolin, if you're listening to this episode, I know you're judging me. I only remember a few scenes from this movie, from Urban Legend, but yeah.
The only scene I remember is the one I don't like because they put a dog in a microwave, and I don't like that.
Forgot about that.
That's the only scene I remember, but I remember the rest of the movie really liking
with
it.
the gremlin being in the microwave?
Yeah, screw that gremlin. I love that movie.
All right. Well, I mean, I don't want to
belabor the.
No, I don't want to belabor this point because I pretty much know why we think it's forgotten. It's the pandemic. I don't think.
Yeah.
I think there's no.
It got screwed.
Yeah. I mean, not everyone has HBO Max, so not everyone can watch it. I mean, I watched it opening at home on the weekend.
Right.
I'm not afraid to go to the theaters. I'm just lazy. So I'm like, if it's on the TV, I'm gonna be like, watch it from home. Pause it when I go to the bathroom. I don't have to listen to people talking in my ear. I remember we took we went to see a movie with the kids went to see If, and Dexter turns to me and he's like, these people are talking. I go, welcome to the theater, buddy. Welcome to watching movies with other people. So he's only 12 and he knew it's terrible. So, but yeah, so I think it's forgotten because of the pandemic. I think that's why it got pushed, and
absolutely,
it just got no one went to the theater, and I would be very and I think another reason, not that if you didn't have one, I don't want to. If you have another one,
no, I think that pandemic's 100% it.
I think this film elicits such a reaction from people. Maybe like we watch a lot of movies, me and you.
Yeah.
Obviously. And we're doing a podcast about them. So I think that we've seen enough where movies like this that are just different or off kilter or kind of go like take a chance, like we can go down that road because we've done it before and we're used to that. We're not, you know,
sure,
what I mean?
Movies can veer.
We're not a casual movie goer. I have seen weirder movies in this, and you know what I mean? And I've liked weirder movies in this. So what I'm saying is like, we're used to this kind of stuff, like something different.
Sure.
A casual moviegoer or somebody who's only used to certain types of films might immediately just be turned off by this movie. And obviously that bad word of mouth, this movie's terrible, don't watch it. Like, you know what I mean? I think that goes, especially with a film that comes out on HBO Max for the first month, is gonna, even though it had a lot of downloads, is gonna hurt it. I think in terms of like why it's forgotten, because people just don't go back to it.
Sure, yeah.
So I think that kind of like bad mouth, that bad word of mouth affects it as well.
Well, it's easier to not like something when it was free and you're just like, oh, ugh,
right.
Yeah.
Right. And these movies that go to streaming first get lost in the algorithm. If you don't watch it, you're done. You're not going to see it on your front screen anymore. Maybe Halloween's you'll see it.
Yeah, if it's not still on your Instagram social media feed, as long as it's blowing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So yeah. So I mean, I think we both like the film, even though we're both having different takes on it, but we both like the movie.
Yeah.
That's what we're saying here. Mike, where can they find us?
You can find us at ForgottenCinemaPodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts. Listen to them, watch them right here on YouTube. Listen to them wherever you get your listening podcasts. There's just way too many to list. Go ahead and drop a like on this episode. If there's a like button, subscribe to us. It all helps us out big time. Comment. Let us know what you thought of Malignant. Did you like the twist where it gets kind of like zany and crazy, or did you not like that? Would you have liked a more serious James Wan film? Let us know. And then if you want to support us, we have a Patreon. It's free to join for some exclusives. And then if you want to support the show on Patreon, you get exclusive access to episodes you wouldn't get elsewhere, like our lead up series or episodes early, discounts in our merch store. By now, unfortunately, I don't have them in time to record because it's middle of July when we're recording this, but there will be Forgotten Horror 6 merch out by the time you're listening to this. So go pick that up.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see if he gets to it. Yeah, so join us next week. Forgotten Horror 6 moves on. We're going to be doing a movie from 2001, 13 Ghosts, a horror/mystery So Butler, you heard Butler's afraid of ghosts. Maybe he'll be afraid of this one.
No, this one does not take ghosts like
Oh.
but you've never seen this one.
I've seen
All of
parts
it.
of it. I know like Tony Shalhoub is in it, so I remember some stuff, but I don't remember all of it.
I don't know if you're gonna like it, but I think you're gonna appreciate the 90s-ness of it because it
That's
is
fine.
super
Well,
90s.
2001's close enough, so to 90s.
It's
where
got
like
that kind of
bleeds
sleek
over.
90s. Yeah.
Well, listen, we talked about this film I liked because of that 90s
yeah.
feel. So yeah, no, I'm interested. I always like to go back and see movies that I maybe didn't see all of or missed or whatever. So it should be fun. So yes, next week 13 Ghosts. That's it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'm Mike Field,
I'm Mike Butler.
and this has been Forgotten Cinema, but also it's been Forgotten Horror 6. Fear the Darkness.
Keep it spooky, y'all.
It's his first one of 5. 6. They're coming. All of them. And probably there's some stupid do music playing right now. And yeah, goofy ghosts. And I apologize for whatever the opening he did for
I
this
love
movie.
Aw.